Coming up on this episode of Nintendo Cartridge Society, we dig up some fossils so we can afford new pants. Use keys in palaces they are found in, so the Nintendo Cartridge Society uses keys with you. Welcome to Nintendo Cartridge Society. My name is Patrick Ellers, and I am joined, as I am always joined, by my co-host, Mark Mitchell. Mark, how's it going?
It's going great. Patrick, I was thinking last night about something that I wanted to get your take on.
Yeah.
So I was kind of reflecting on video games like 10, 15, 20 years ago, right?
Okay.
And
Which is an episode format that we've done in the past.
but I was thinking about studios outside of Japan that used to exist and be kind of like the cream of the crop, like prolific studios that it felt like we used to have a lot more of them, and now we don't.
And now they're all Xbox studios.
Kind of, actually, because I was thinking like a new BioWare game used to be such a huge deal, and BioWare has definitely lost its luster, right?
Yeah.
Like Bungie used to be such a big deal, and I would say has also lost its luster.
And they are now a PlayStation studio.
Right.
Yeah.
And like Bungie's an example where it wasn't consolidation because they were independent for a while, working with Activision, and I would say all of that, whatever decisions they made independently kind of led them to where they are now.
Yes. But to be a part of a different giant publisher. Yeah.
But I just I was trying to think of who are the prestige studios now that are dependably making games that people are excited about.
And you're saying like third party, like not
No, well, it doesn't have to be
does it
third
matter?
party. I mean, because how many of those even really exist anymore? I was thinking like Naughty Dog is one. That
Sony Santa Monica, I think, is another one.
Yes,
with the God of War games.
Uh-huh.
But both of those examples, and this is just like modern video gaming, Sony Santa Monica put out 2 games in the last 10 years, right?
Right.
Then Naughty Dog 1, right? Like it's just The Last of Us Part 2 that's come out in the last decade for them. Like there's been no other new stuff. It takes so long for like the level of game that you're talking about, and like WB or like Rocksteady, right, is another example where like they used to be able to put out 3 Arkham games in a generation, and now it's like they take 10 years. Like Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League comes out and nobody likes it.
That's what I mean. I guess Insomniac is another studio that people like, but doesn't put out as many games. I don't know. I just feel like
Insomniac's a little bit more reliable,
prolific.
right? Yeah, because like a couple Spider-Man games, that's like basically 3 of them in the last decade.
Yeah, that's true. That's a great point. That's a really good point. I was just feeling like, man,
they're part of PlayStation now.
Right. Well, that's the thing. I was just thinking there just are not that many studios anymore that kind of have that prestige to them, because it's, there's no like Ken Levine studio making a like weird BioShock thing. You know what I mean? Like the economics of it have just
well, it's like at that scale though, right? Because there are still like the indie studios that have like a high profile, right? Like Supergiant.
Yeah, that's true.
Working on, or like Drinkbox. That it's just like that the scale for these things has to be so much smaller. Or relatively speaking, they still have way more developers working on them than who made Super Mario Brothers 3, for example, right? But it's just that what a prestige like powerhouse game is in 2025 can only be made. It's the movie problem, right? That like you can make a $20 or a $200 million blockbuster, but it's got to be like a Marvel or a Star Wars or like a Superman movie. So it has to have this like huge backing of like a major studio production, and it has to make $1 billion. And so it's just like we used to have games that were like the technological cream of the crop, still had a ton of people working on them, but they could be smaller things, shorter experiences, and not cost quite so much to make. And like, we've it, the fear for a long time was like the race to the bottom with mobile gaming and free games, but the real problem has been the race to the top of like spending the most money to make the most high fidelity, the most feature rich game that then like people put down so they can play Fortnite.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's just interesting. I was just kind of, because we're going to be talking about Donkey Kong Bonanza today,
Yeah.
I was just thinking about like, oh, other studios that I used to get so excited for their new games in the same way that I got excited for Nintendo games. And I
Yeah.
feel like that is just fewer and fewer studios that exist like that.
Yeah, well, and I think part of it is like we're so plugged into the Nintendo ecosystem of this, right? That like there are other, to invoke another PlayStation studio, Sucker Punch. They've got their Ghost of Yote coming out later this year, I think in October. And like their last one, Ghost of Tsushima, came out 5 years ago, and before that they were doing the Infamous games, and like that's a pretty good run. I think people look out for a new Sucker Punch game. If they put out a new game that's not a ghost of whatever, people will show up for it, I think.
Yeah, that's a great point.
But yeah, we're still plugged into Nintendo, and they like to not tell us who works on their
Yeah,
games.
that's true. It's all just Nintendo.
That's right. But we're talking about Donkey Kong Bonanza today, and we'll get to that in a second. But first, just wanted to shout out the patreon.com/Nintendo Cartridge Society. If you head on over there and you support us at the 8-bit or 16-bit levels, or you have done so in the past, you get access to our once-a-month episodes of miniseries like NCS at the movies.
Right, where Patrick and I are going to see movies in theaters together, and then we're talking about them.
Going to the theater.
Yes, and sometimes with guests. We're going to be seeing Fantastic Four this weekend and talking about it, and that's going to be really exciting. So check that out.
Yep, and that'll post sometime this weekend. We've got a special guest for that. We're very excited for that conversation. I think we're both a little bit like, is this movie going to be any good?
Yep.
We don't know.
That's a big question for sure.
Really time stamping this of like before Fantastic Four comes out. So, and if you follow us for free on Patreon or are contributing at the 4-bit levels, there are other rewards for you there too. Some older things that you can check out. Also, if you're on the 8 or 16-bit levels, we've got our NCS Arcade, NCS Detective Club, NCS Goes Broadway, all kinds of back catalog stuff that you can listen to that are fun episodes that you might enjoy. You can also email us at Nintendo Cartridge Society
at gmail.com.
if you would like to join our Discord. We're going to be talking a lot about Donkey Kong Bonanza here today, and I imagine that conversation, which has been already going in the Discord, will continue there. So if we say anything about Donkey Kong that you disagree with, that you want to underline, whatever, email us, get in the Discord, and continue the conversation there. All right, Mark, are you ready to do it? Just like dig in and talk about Donkey Kong.
Yeah, let's do it.
So we've discussed a little bit our like first impressions of this game on our news episode from Tuesday. I don't know how well I'm going to not repeat myself. At least a little bit.
Sure, yeah.
There are elements of like the beginning of the game and like the first impressions that I don't think we necessarily got around to talking about. But like, there's so much happening in this game, and I feel so. You know how like in the Tasmanian Devil cartoons, how he like would turn into a tornado and start like plowing through trees. That's how I feel when I'm consuming this game, because so many things come at you so fast. So I'm going to do my best to talk about this thing in like a linear, like directional way, but I can't promise it's not going to be chaotic.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I think that's going to be really hard. So we, of course, I think neither of us have finished the game.
No.
But we're going to be talking openly and freely about our experiences up to the point that we're at, which, Patrick, where are you in the game?
Okay, so I have done the layers below the Great Divide. So the Great Divide where you choose between either the winter
Snow area or the
or
forest
the
area.
forest.
Uh-huh.
So I have done the snow area and the forest area,
Yeah.
and I've done the Void Kong encounter
Okay.
after that.
Me as well.
Okay, and I've really just started the next layer
The
after that.
resort layer.
Yes.
Okay, that's where I'm at as well.
Oh,
So
that's great.
yeah.
Can I show you a picture I took of my screen from or like right before I stopped playing today?
Yes.
Is like it's in the resort
Oh,
layer.
fun.
It's Donkey Kong. He's purple. He's wearing some
Like the bellhop pants from the
exactly
like the forest level.
right.
Yeah. Okay.
That's great.
Very
Fantastically
good.
and
Yeah.
coincidentally, we are in
The same
exactly
exact area. And so I feel like they're
Oh, can I also just say
Oh, yeah.
that this is also where and I brought these up so that I could talk about all this stuff with being able to refer to some sort of like written material. This is also where like guides are sort of maxed out.
Oh,
Like,
really?
they don't really progress past this point in great detail yet. And ditto the Mario wiki only gets to the resort layer, and then there are several others after it, which are just like bare bones.
Oh,
Like,
interesting.
I think you and I are progressing at the rate of the people who are like still crazy about playing this game, but not so crazy that we've committed the entire weekend to just like mainlining it.
Yeah, all I know is that I've done over 10 hours
This
because
is all you know.
Because the Switch
Right.
to playtime for the first week doesn't update at all. It just tells you that you've started it
Yes.
1 day ago, 2 days ago, 6 days ago. And then finally, after a week, it clicks over. And I know that I'm somewhere between 10 and 15 hours, but I'm not really sure. So I have 218 Banandium gems.
Yes.
So 218, and I'm at the resort layer. So yeah, that's funny. We're in the same exact space.
Hold on. I texted my friends how many bananas. Almost 250.
Oh, nice.
So I think
Very
it's like
nice.
247. I believe is how many I have at the moment.
And the way that I have been trying to play this, that would like we talked about on Tuesday, is I'm trying to progress the story as much as possible because my experience with Super Mario Odyssey was that I started out trying to get as many moons as I possibly could in every kingdom, and then you get to the you roll credits on Odyssey, and like double the amount of moons show up. It becomes
Right.
much easier to find moons. They're like those kingdoms kind of transform a little bit to become all about moon exploration. And I have no idea if a similar thing happens here, but I'm kind of banking on there being some sort of similar mechanic
Or at
that
least
makes it worthwhile.
Or at least that is what you tell yourself when you start playing it.
That's what I'm trying to do.
Yes.
That's what I'm trying to do.
That's the goal.
Yes.
However, impossible.
Well, I think it's because this game seems to be a little bit from a lot of different Nintendo franchises
Yeah.
mixed together into a new Donkey Kong game. And so even more than Super Mario Odyssey, I feel like this game has the Breath of the Wild thing where it's like, I am going to go to the next waypoint, but I also want to see what's around this corner. Oh, there's a challenge for me to do? Okay, I'm going to do that.
The challenge.
Oh,
Right.
I'm going to use the radar thing to see if there's a banana nearby. Ah, there is a banana nearby? Well, I got to go get that
And
because
so you go over there and then
Uh-huh.
like, oh, I also pinged a fossil. I better go get that fossil.
Yes.
Yeah, it's it is a sort of like slot machine of rewards in that like I feel as though I am constantly being rewarded with something that I actually want. And that feels like I'm building towards like meaningful progression of the character and the resources that are available to me for other purposes. Before we get like to again, I already feel like we're like, here are all of our thoughts about Donkey Kong Bananza. But before like, and again, we mentioned a little bit on Tuesday, but like this episode is a discrete conversation about Donkey Kong Bonanza. Generally speaking, how do you like feel about this game, like quality wise, or your relationship to it? Do you like Donkey Kong Bonanza?
Yeah, I am really enjoying it. It's hard to not compare it to other
Totally.
Nintendo games,
Right.
or even like Super Mario Odyssey. But one of the things that I'm really enjoying about it is the sense of discovery, but it also feels very um like purposefully created in a way that will guide you to where you need to go when you're ready to move on. I never
Yes.
feel
Mhm.
lost. And it
Mhm.
has multiple like things in the game to make it very easy for you to find your way to like when you're ready to advance, and I really appreciate that.
More than that, because it does very much do that, broadcast to you where you need to go next when you want to progress the story. I think this game's relationship to like giving you hints about where things are hidden is immaculate. It You can wander around the world and see like, oh, there's a mountain in the shape of a Kong's head. I can see that like the mouth is like a slightly different color. I'm gonna start digging there. Um, or like there are anything that is a point of visual interest is also a point of like gameplay interest. And so everything that your eye is drawn to, the character should also be drawn to, and you will find something there. And then if that fails, there's the hand slap ability that will like create a little sonar shockwave and confirm to you that like yes, there's a banana or a fossil over there. And then beyond that, as you're digging, you surface these treasure chests that sometimes have maps in them to the location of usually fossils, but sometimes bananas. So like when I'm starting to go on a like I want to find everything in this area run of something, um, I have so many different ways to tackle it, and it can be as organic or as like me forcing the issue as possible. Um, and it always feels like I'm still exploring and like I'm still finding things. I'm not just like checklisting stuff or just following like mindless waypoints. It's really remarkable in this way.
Yeah, I mean, this is a game that, like the best video games, has wormed its way into my brain,
I know.
and I'm just always thinking about when I can play it
I
next.
know.
You
Yeah,
know?
me too.
So, so to answer your question, yeah, I'm really enjoying it, and it sounds like you are really enjoying it too.
Yeah, I'm basically loving it. Like I think it is a an achievement on par with Super Mario Odyssey and Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, and it's perhaps even stranger because there is, and I know this is a point I keep making, but there is no precedent for this kind of game with the Donkey Kong IP attached to it. I will not hear the argument that Donkey Kong 64 is like a precursor to this. It's just not. Um, uh, it is a remarkable game with basically brand new mechanics to it, and is like now for me the definitive like this is Donkey Kong. This is what this character can be. You know?
Can we talk about the very, very first moments of the game when you're able to control Donkey Kong for the first time,
Yes.
and it drops you into this kind of like nondescript cave space, and the first thing, because I have seen the commercials, I know what this game is
Yeah.
all about. The first thing I did was start ripping up everything that I could,
Yes.
and start
Well,
going digging.
I mean, I even want to go just like a step further back than that. Because this game starts with action, like with the action of the game. This is a thing that I've noticed Nintendo is doing with their like big prestige like AAA games. Tears of the Kingdom also just sort of started this way, where like you're in Tears of the Kingdom, you're just like you turn the game on for the first time, and it just says like Nintendo presents Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom in like tiny little
Oh,
font,
and they're serious font.
and they're serious font, yes, and they're like we're not screwing around font, and then like Link is just walking through the cavern with Zelda, right? And we'll get a title card later, but not now. We're just starting in action. Ditto Bonanza, we'll get to a title card in a bit, but it starts with just seeing like do we actually like pan over Ingot Island first and then it's like
I can't remember the order, if because I think what you're getting at
yes,
is there's
a rock wall,
that, and then a prompt for you to like
push the buttons.
push Y to like punch.
Right. And so the first thing you see is a rock wall that you then jam on some buttons to destroy.
And I can't yes, and so I can't remember if, there's, like, a little pan down of Ingot Island and
Right.
with the chimps mining, if that comes before or after that. But, yes, the first, like, action that you take is that.
And it's before the game like truly announces itself as Donkey Kong Bonanza.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, Mark, I had the exact same impulse as you of like as soon as I'm introduced to this area to just destroy everything. Kind of because in some ways like I didn't believe it or something. I needed to see in action that like any wall or like floor surface that I can destroy it. And there are obviously limits on that. But like it's it feels so good to smash stuff in the game. And then it's so satisfying to have like carved a path through what was obstacles before.
And the control scheme is, like, interesting. The face buttons, the, Y button? Is that X button? I guess it must be the X button.
X is at the top.
Yeah, X is so X. It's intuitive in a way, and I haven't messed with the controls. I've kept
Right.
them as they are. So like the X button, which is basically like up on your face buttons. That's Donkey Kong will like grab up, like he will like
Well, he
kind of like
punches up.
punch,
He like
yeah,
swings up. Yes.
So he can smash that way. Y will punch
Forward.
forward, and then
B
B will
punches
punch down.
Right. And that makes A your jump button, which is not the most intuitive jump button, but I find it to be just fine.
Right. And for whatever reason, I think it's cute and clever that they put B as, even though that generally would be the jump button,
Mhm.
like to have that be punch down, because then like
Yes.
the controls are basically mapped to the direction on the face buttons.
Right. If you are ever confused about which button to push, you just think about which way you want Donkey Kong to throw his fists.
Yep.
Yeah.
Um and so when I was playing that first area, or really afterwards, it wasn't when it was happening, I thought back to like Super Mario Brothers like 1-1, and how that does such a good job
Hmm.
of tutorializing the core mechanics of Mario, but in such a like brilliant way, right? It's like, oh, there is a Goomba walking towards me. I need to jump
Jump over
over
it. Right.
this. And it is like a simple presentation of what will later become very complicated. And I feel like they do a good job of that in this first area, because it's like a blank canvas for you to go nuts in if you want to, but it's
Right.
also controlled enough that you can't really get lost or turned around or anything.
Yeah. What's interesting is, and I remember feeling this way about Super Mario Odyssey in the beginning as well, that like um I feel like the opening areas of both of those games are almost nondescript in a way where you don't feel the sense of place that much. You sort of just feel like you're in, like you said, like a void of like character movement experience, and that we will get to setting in a second, right? Like the game really wants you to just have thumbs on sticks, and like feel what this character feels like before really like introducing you to like what the world is.
Right.
Um, and yeah, that like my first impressions were really just about how Donkey Kong moves. Great, by the way, super responsive. I feel like Donkey Kong is always like solidly under my control. Um, Sarah is nearing the end of a replay of Super Mario 3D World, which is a game that I love, obviously. But some of those characters are like a little bit slippery. Toad and Luigi are both like kind of too fast for their own good, especially in the Switch version where like everything's sped up a little bit. So like sometimes I feel like those characters are out of my precise control. But Donkey Kong just feels like an extension of my fingers.
One of the things that I really love about movement in this game, and it's so specific, but I feel like never really happens in games, and so the fact that you can do it in Bonanza is delightful, is like Donkey Kong often needs to run up a surface or like climb up a surface,
Yeah.
and he needs to be doing it with something in his hand, and you can. You can
He just
carry up a
does it.
chunk of
Yeah.
earth, right? Same with like if you're in a level with like barrels,
Mm-hmm.
you can pick up something from the ground like a rock and jump into the barrel with it, or you can just throw the thing into the barrel
Right.
and it will like shoot off. And it's like, yeah, that's
It
amazing.
should be like that. What's crazy is like it took me forever to discover those things because I assumed that they wouldn't work.
Right, exactly.
Which it like for as good a job as this game does of like providing you with a sort of like playground initially for you to like use these moves, and like does some like on-screen prompts to like remind you like, oh yeah, you push this button to make Pauline sing so that you know where to go next, or to break a void seal, or like it will remind you of like how to perform the ground pound, or the punch down, whatever it's called. um there are some like movement mechanics that I feel like the game never told me, and I just sort of discovered,
Yeah,
like rolling.
yeah, I feel like it tutorializes the stuff that you have to know.
Yes.
And then the rest of it, it just kind of like allows you to figure out.
Yeah, and some of it there are like hints towards it in like the level up, the skill point like system.
Uh-huh.
um like you can do a thing where you spin around real fast, and like it becomes a little ball, and then you can jump and do kind of like a helicopter jump, that kind of stuff. And that's like in Mario games, right? um and just like in Mario games, they don't ever really tell you that you can do it or what the advantage is to doing that. um but like I do, Mark, I don't know about you, but anytime I need to clear a gap, I am rolling off the edge, jumping in the middle of the roll, and then rolling in the air. Like I'm chaining together these like little bits of movement to get like the farthest jump I possibly can, even though like that's not, the game never tells you to do that.
I I don't think I do that. I don't think that so you can roll, jump and then roll again in the air?
Yeah, so just like in the original Donkey Kong Country games, the rolls or cartwheels that Diddy Kong had have excellent coyote time, which is a phenomenon in video games where you can jump a little bit past the edge of a cliff that you've walked off of. So you roll, and as long as you jump before the roll is over, you will start to like, you will be propelled upwards.
Oh, sure.
So like I roll off the edge, jump, and then at like the height of that jump, roll again.
Yeah, I guess I didn't think that you could roll out of a jump.
Yes, you can.
Oh, interesting.
So like, especially if you're high enough up, like you can really get some good distance that way and really explore the space. Feels a little bit evocative of the, again, Mario Odyssey thing of like jump, throw the cap, dive at it, hop off it, throw the cap again, dive again. Which is a much more complicated thing, and like something that I had so well under my fingers when I was really playing Odyssey, and then tried to perform like maybe a year ago, just like to pick the game back up and be like, yeah, I can still do that. Could not do it. It was embarrassing. But the Donkey Kong thing is so much simpler.
Yeah. And yeah, that's interesting. I don't think I even knew you could do that. I use turf surfing
Tell
all the time.
tell me about your turf surfing, because I use it sometimes. I almost get overwhelmed by like, okay, I'm surfing on the thing. I push Y to go faster. I push the A to jump. Um, and then when I want to get off the thing, I need to like push that same
Oh,
button again.
that's the part that is
I
always a
always,
mess.
yeah. The
Getting
dismount,
off is
I'm
like
so bad
because
at.
you have to, yeah, and you can
I
you
forget
can
what to
like
do.
stop and then but
Yeah.
then when you dismount, it's like in your arms again and
Hmm.
everything. The other thing I forget to do all the time is when you pick up an item,
Yes.
like you pick up a piece of ground, you can throw it as a
I
projectile,
love this.
but you can also swing it
Yep.
around. And I think to swing it. I'm always thinking to throw
Oh,
it.
to throw it,
And
yeah.
swinging is so much more effective, especially when there's those like thorns that get in the way or something.
Yes.
If you're throwing it at it, you just basically get
You get
one
that
use of
spot,
it.
right?
But if you're swinging it around, you can, and with enemies too, swinging it around is so much better. And so I'm having to like retrain myself to like
Right.
think to swing first and throw
And
only
throw
when
later.
needed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. That's, oh, there was another like function of like that move set. now I can't remember what I was thinking. Um, but yeah, it is just amazing how at any point you have access to pulling up whatever's below you, right?
Right.
Um, with some rare exceptions, but like you can very easily pick up some like exploding stuff or like a hard rock or something. And it's just so cool to use those as like kind of versatile weapons.
And one of the things that's kind of like fun is
Oh,
that
chunk jump is what I was going to.
oh yes, yeah.
That when you have something in your hands, you can surf on it, you can swing it, you can throw it, or you can use it to give yourself a double jump. And that's just a remarkably versatile move set for a thing that you always have access to.
And I think that one is like an ability that you unlock, the
Is that
chunk
right?
jump. I
Okay,
think
yeah.
so. But yeah, to me the move set at least so far is like diverse enough but limited enough that when I run up against like a gap or like a puzzle or something that I'm like
Right.
I'm not 100% sure how I get there, you can kind of just like run through the Rolodex of things available to you.
Right.
It's like, "Oh, I haven't tried surfing on this," or like maybe I can use this to surf or over the lava or whatever. You know what I mean? Like
Right. Well, and like the thing that complicates every single one of those moves is that like because the different pieces of the environment have like different elemental qualities to it, and those things react in different ways. That like yes, you will encounter lava, and you're like, okay, I can throw a rock at the lava. What happens then? I can throw snow at the lava. Something different happens. You mentioned those like purple viney thorn things, and it's like okay, you could throw mud at it, and that's not really going to do anything. Or sometimes like enemies will be metal, and you're like, okay, I either need to go bonanza mode, which we'll talk about in a bit, or find something explodey that like all of the physical characteristics of the things that you're trying to destroy and the like pieces of ground around you all interact in very specific ways. And so it's like this ever evolving game of what do my moves do in this specific context.
yeah, totally.
Would you like Mark to talk about some of the levels that we've been going through?
Sure, yeah.
Well, I mean, I guess we can also just like start with like the story setup here, right? And it's nothing that it's the Void Kong company, which is really seemingly just these three monkeys.
Just yeah. Uh-huh.
That they appear on Ingot Island and are like, we're taking all the bananas, and like mess up the mine that Donkey Kong and his like fellow chimps are working at. Seemingly, they're all the same kind of monkey except Donkey
Yeah,
Kong,
except Donkey Kong.
which is like okay, he just likes finding bananas, I guess. And so you pretty quickly get like knocked down into like chasing Void Kong and his guys, Grumpy Kong and the other one,
Poppy Kong.
Poppy Kong, down into the earth, and this is where you encounter like the first layer, which is like level 100, and every like increase in number is like a little bit deeper into the core of the earth. I love this idea returning from like straight up Donkey Kong, that like in those games it's the first level is like 25 mm and then 50 mm, and that like each one of these is like a certain number of meters up or something, Mario meters, I don't know. And now they're just like, no, now it's a certain like depth into the earth. I think is really cool.
And each layer has sub layers in it as well.
Yes.
That you visit over the course of it.
And the sub layers are like connected mini worlds, right? That
Yeah.
sort of because like you access you like traverse between them a fair amount, and like especially in the first one, there are like floating islands like high up in the lower of those two layers that you can only access through like specific points in the upper layer.
Yeah. And of course you encounter like Pauline first as an odd rock.
Yes, we do meet Odd Rock first, which we had seen Odd Rock in the early promotional materials for Donkey Kong Bonanza.
Yeah, before we knew Pauline was in the game.
Before we knew Pauline was in the game. And then they reveal that Pauline is in the game in like the full blowout trailer, which was fun and exciting. We're like, yay, Pauline. I kind of thought that like the invention of Odd Rock was like something that they made for the trailers. That you know what I mean? But like no, you actually spend some time with, and I don't know if there are like story reasons for why she looks like a weird little rock for the first, because she is, you play with the Odd Rock character like sitting on your shoulder for a while.
Well, so when she's Odd Rock, she not like the other Fractones. Like she is covered in the like
The void tape,
Voidco
yeah.
like tape, and so I think there's a story reason why um Void Kong like wants Pauline specifically, or
Yes.
is like trying to keep Pauline away from the core, from the center of the underground world.
Right. Well, and I mean, as you and I have reached the same point in the game, there is like he hints at a story reason.
Right. Well, he's like, you don't know about your special power?
Right. And is like, even if you get to the core, your wish won't be granted because of your power.
Yeah. And so this is everybody's trying to make it to the core.
Yeah.
Donkey Kong wants bananas. Pauline wants to get back to the surface.
Right.
And
to be a singer?
no, so she's like
kinda
a
doesn't want-
reluctant.
Yeah.
She's a reluctant singer at this point.
Yes.
In the game. Like when you at each of the layers you meet a village elder,
Right.
which is a like towering giant character in each of them, and
So I
they're
gotta say, every like 3D platformer or like 3D adventure game, just give me a big guy. I love.
they're
I
all
love-
so good.
You run up to a big guy and like it's just like, wow, this guy's big, and then like you do whatever business you have to, and you're like, I bet I could climb that big guy. And guess what? You can climb all these big guys, and it's glorious every time.
And they're all aspiring DJs.
Yep.
And so in order to get like in order to progress in the story, you encounter them and Pauline has to sing a song. And at this point in the story, she's reluctant to perform in front of people.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or fractones or monkeys or ostriches. Or
Right.
zebras
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
whatever.
By people, I mean not humans.
Not humans at all.
Yeah.
And I love the way that that's presented, like the little like cutscene, where like she's kind of like hemming and hawing about like, I don't really want to do this.
Oh, the first time. Yeah.
The first time,
Uh-huh.
yeah. And then she starts singing the song, and it immediately cuts to you having this transformation as the song plays, and it's rad every time.
So that is why. So we don't know why, but yes, Pauline begins as Odd Rock, and then transforms into
Herself,
like,
yeah.
herself. Yeah.
As a child, right? And the that first moment where she transforms, I guess Odd Rock sees Donkey Kong and is like monkey and is like scared of the monkey, right? Because Odd Rock, Pauline has had some negative interaction with the Void Kong guys. But I really liked, as soon as she turns into Pauline, that she like looks at Donkey Kong, sees the DK on his tie, and is like, that's his name. His name is DK.
Yeah.
Which is why she calls him DK. And I just think that's so cute.
It is really fun.
I find the relationship between Pauline and DK to be utterly charming. And I love anytime they're talking to each other. I like that when you pick up a chunk of earth and like start to throw it at something, she's like, focus. Or she'll comment on like how you did in like little challenge rooms, sometimes being like, well, you breezed through that one, or like, that was close. And it just I like that that's dynamic, that it like makes a judgment, and then she like encourages you based on how you did.
Yeah, it is fun.
I think it's
it is
really
really
cute.
nice.
You want to talk about the lagoon layer?
Sure. So the lagoon layer is populated by, so there's like these fractone characters that exist in all of the layers.
Yes.
They're like these gem characters that
they're
act
like,
as like merchants and like they point you in the right direction, all that kind of stuff.
and they have like eyes, but no other facial features.
Right.
And you can smash them up as much as you want, and they will just like regenerate.
Uh-huh.
They don't seem to mind.
So they're everywhere. They
Yes.
just like populate all of the layers. And then each layer has their own like group of
Yeah, who are the guys?
the species,
Yes.
that exist there. So on the lagoon layer, and again, I think it's kind of a fun like progression where you start out at the cave-in with regular chimps, And then at the lagoon layer, you have some chimps that are wearing like fishing gear and are all
Yes.
fishermen.
I love it.
And then it starts getting crazier, but they're starting out, they're easing you into monkeys.
Right, because you're like, you expect monkeys, and
Right.
so you see more monkeys, and you're like, they just have a different job. I get it. And the lagoon layer is really nice. It's like an idyllic, like beachside sort of town, but not in like a vacation sort of way, but in a like as a working fishing town
Yeah,
kind of way. Um, and there are mountains to climb and to explore and to totally level if you want to do that. Um, and I really liked how this as a first level in a video game, it was delightfully not just like a green grassy area.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? That like um usually the first world in an area like this or in a game like this is going to be as void of personality as possible. But that's not like Bonanza's like, no, this is like very specific. And it starts with a water level, which is kind of crazy.
And it basically introduces you to everything you're, for the most part, going to encounter
Yeah.
in all of these levels. There's like a little village where there's a stuff shop where you can buy balloons, which
Mhm.
if you fall off the edge and you have a balloon, it'll bring you back up.
So you don't take any damage. I love this as a recontextualization of like the balloon concept from Donkey Kong Country.
Yeah,
That
totally.
those were your lives in that game, and now they're like sort of rescuing you from death. But like, yeah, I think it's really smart.
Well, that's because the penalty for death, like death, is pretty steep. It's like 500.
Yeah, I have so much gold.
Do you? I'm always rocking around like maybe like 9 or 8,000
Oh,
until you feed one of those trees.
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
then some of the later ones I'm down to like 2,000 or something.
Oh man, no, I've got like 37,000. I did so like I played through the first three like full layers, and then I was like, I'm gonna go back to the lagoon layer and get everything.
Oh,
And so I
interesting.
literally went back and like got every single banana and every single fossil, which means I did a ton of just like drilling into that mountain and collecting gold.
Uh-huh.
Um, and from that point on, I have never even come close to wanting
Yeah, that's
for gold.
interesting.
Yeah.
So yeah, the stuff shop, there are the balloons you can buy. There are these cans of juice that you can buy.
Yeah, and the juice will refill your health when you've gone down to zero.
Wait, are they? Oh, now I'm wondering, is it juice? Because there's also like soda can
Yeah,
things.
there's apple juice, which is the will refill your
Refill your
health,
life.
and then there's the soda can thing that allows you to go into Bonanza mode without having the gold charged up for it.
Got it.
Yeah,
Got it. So there's those like stuff shops. Then there's the style shops.
love the style shops.
So style shops are like a combination of Super Mario, the costumes in Odyssey, and the like armor sets in Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom.
Yes,
Where
yes,
um, in Odyssey it's purely cosmetic, and in Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild they give you some sort of buff. The armor sets, and
right.
in Donkey Kong Bonanza, the shops are very similar, to what you saw in Odyssey, but each area sells things that will help you in that area.
Yeah, and I think it's very so like in the lagoon layer where there is a lot of water, the bonuses that Donkey Kong gets from his the pants that you buy there are is like an improved swim speed, right? And I really like how much it is just like taking one of the specific obstacles of that area and making it less detrimental for you to deal with it. Like later where you're in an area where there's like poison like swamp water, and you take less damage by wearing the pants that you buy in that area. And I just think that's such a smart way to um like tame the inhospitable areas just by getting by buying the clothes that you can find in them.
Yeah, the items that you can buy all are basically like you said, the pants are give some sort of environmental buff. Then you can buy different ties or little
Oh, right. Yes.
um dickies, like that sort of thing.
And those,
Bandanas.
yeah, and those tend to be like improvements to,
How quickly you
yes.
can refill your Bonanza
Yeah, meter there.
meter.
Right. And also what does it, right? Like
Yes.
sometimes it's like faster with collecting gold, faster with digging, faster with
Killing
killing
enemies.
enemies.
And
Yes.
then Pauline has full outfits that you can buy, and those all extend the amount of time that you can be in Bonanza mode for.
And like they can affect, it's not just increasing the time, right? Isn't some of them are um like makes the sonar work better when you're in the Bonanza mode, or
Oh, that could be true.
yeah, I
That could
think
be
I
true.
think they have different like Bonanza buffs, but they're all specifically related to that, which makes sense because their singing triggers the Bonanza. But yeah.
And then all of these are purchased with fossils, which are
And of course the you can dye Donkey Kong's fur.
which I have not bought those at all.
Really?
My Donkey Kong is
Always that kind of brown
God-given
orange.
Donkey Kong. Yeah.
Man, it's look, I buy them before I should. Like where I'm like I should be saving up to level up the pants or whatever. I'm like, no, I need that like that dusty purple color.
Oh yeah, when I saw that it was purely cosmetic, that
Yeah.
they didn't have any buffs, then I've just ignored them.
Oh no, I need it.
Um, and yeah, so there are 3 different types of fossils. There's like regular fossils,
Mhm.
rarer fossils, and then there's one like giant fossil
Right.
in every level.
And I really like that the fossils are different on each layer, right? Or mostly like there's some of the like medium layers where it's like it's the same one as the previous, but it's just like a different color or
But
something.
all the main,
Yeah.
different biomes have their own.
Have their own
Uh,
set of fossils.
yeah.
And like, is it in the forest level where the fossils are like beaver and
Yeah, it's like
pig?
naughty
Yeah.
and yeah,
And
yes.
the pigs from Donkey Kong Country Returns. Yeah, it's like this is where you start to see like references to other, not exclusively, but like it's a fun little place for them to start putting references to other Donkey Kong games.
Speaking of like Donkey Kong Country, so obviously we know from the trailers that Diddy and Dixie are in here.
Yeah, I've not
I
seen them.
haven't seen them either.
Yeah,
You see Cranky Kong Cranky's in every layer.
right.
You can like track him down and he'll give you a banana if you listen to him be cranky at you.
And tell you the same story every time. Have you noticed that? He says the exact same thing.
Oh, does he?
Yeah.
No, I haven't noticed that. And then like Ramby's there, but I haven't been able to ride Ramby yet.
Right, Ramby to this point is just marking where Cranky is.
He's like in the area. There's a couple where you have to kind of like search for him
Look
a little
around,
bit.
yeah.
So okay, and then also while we're on the subject of things that I've seen in trailers but have not encountered, but I'm thinking this one is maybe just if you're playing in co-op. It's Pauline being able to like shout
yeah,
words.
That's
one's just
that's
co-op.
just the co-op.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, I haven't messed around with that yet. So, yeah, have not interacted with it. Yeah. Okay, so where to next?
Let's okay. So in each
We talked a little bit about the village elder, right? Is that where you were going to start?
No, where I was going to go was the challenge spaces because
Oh,
those
yeah.
are also introduced in this this lagoon layer, and in the areas you can like discover them, unlock them, do different things to enter these challenge spaces. There's like a couple of different kinds. There's ones where you like punch into it and they are like triangle shaped.
Yes.
And you walk into those and there's 3 bananas somewhere in this 3D space.
Right, and these usually feel more like obstacle coursey. They feel like the floodless sections from Super Mario Sunshine. But where like you just need to, and it's always like centered around like a single mechanic or like interesting quirk of gameplay. Where and that's all traversal based.
Right. And then there's also versions of that are 2D platforming.
Yep.
That are like throwbacks to Donkey Kong Country levels. Not like
Yes.
specific levels, but like have the look.
I mean,
and
one of them
feel
is
of
like very
a Bramble
specifically
one,
Bramble
yeah.
Blast, yeah.
And then there's also instead of punching in, they're like barrels in the ground, or you like punch down into
Yeah,
it.
I always saw it as one of those, like one of those garbage cans where like you push down the one side and then
Uh-huh.
the whole thing flips over. Yeah.
And those are usually where you defeat the enemies. So
Hmm.
there's like 3, 5, whatever enemies, and you have to defeat them in a certain amount of time. Or occasionally they turn out to be just purely gold gathering. It's just
Right.
like, here's a ton of gold.
Just little bonus things.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Right.
And so
And the reward for all of these, except for the that gold one that we just mentioned, is always a banana or 3 bananas.
yes, and so the ones where there's 3 bananas, there's always 2 bananas you can get for completing it, and then a hidden banana that you have to find
Right.
or figure out
Right.
how to get to. I
Right.
love it. I love the predictability of it. I
Mhm.
know where it's like, I know there's a banana
I
in
know
here.
there's one around here.
And so I'm gonna be like doing this sonar thing like all the time.
Right, or I'm gonna like get to the next safe spot and just like spin the camera around
Yeah.
slowly. Where haven't I been?
Can I climb down? Can I
Yes.
climb up? Can I break something? Yeah, I love these. They're a really fun, like you said, using the mechanics of the game, but a fun break, a fun using a different part of your brain.
Totally, because so much of the game is like based in exploration, and that some of the rewards of the exploration are moments where the game doesn't test you on exploration, where it
Right.
tests you on your platforming or your combat abilities. And some of those challenge areas are specific to the Bonanza transformations. You have to punch them as the transformed version of Donkey Kong, and
Um,
those are always you are that transformation full time within that.
let's talk about the elders and the transformations. But before we do, I just want to mention, because we were talking about the challenges, and there was one that really stood out to me, but it happens in the world as well. And it's an area where I feel like Nintendo goes beyond Odyssey and pulls some of the mechanics from Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild and puts them into
Sure.
the game. And that's like, there are sometimes physics-based puzzles that are based on the space,
Yes.
like the ones with the ice cubes, where it's like, oh, you started the ice machine
Yep.
and now you have to carve out the space, like the ice
That
cubes.
one was really fun and cool.
And it's like the ice cubes, they don't have, you can't pick them up. So it's
Right.
all like, they have a very set like physics, like how they interact with the world. And you have to figure out like to carve the space for them to
Mhm.
get them to go where you want it to go.
Right. And sometimes you're like, oh no, I sort of messed this up. So I got to start like throwing mud back into it to like block off an area that I shouldn't have opened up to get these ice cubes to like go into the right
And that was so
spaces.
fun to be like, I have to realize, like, do I need to back out and start over? And it's like, no, I
No, I
have
can
the
fix it,
tools to
yes.
fix this. So that is such a fun kind of like elaboration to me
Yeah,
on just
totally.
like the world of Donkey Kong Bonanza.
Yeah, and there are frequently times where it's just like a steady stream of either like spiky balls or like you said these ice cube things, and it's really on you to determine like how you're going to redirect them. And you have like an infinite number of options because the whole cliffside is destructible. And so it's just very uh, it's impressive to like realize what they've presented you with, and then very fun to execute on it.
So let's talk about the elders and
Yes.
like what role they play in the whole thing.
So the elders, as discussed, they're all giant. They all are aspiring DJs, and they're also so old.
They all are, yes.
Hilariously wrinkled. And they're all rocking like high top sneakers and wearing over ear headphones.
I love the aesthetic of this game and kind of its like modernity a little bit.
Yeah.
You know how like the zebras are all like brah. Did you see
Oh,
that, brah?
Man, I cannot. The way the zebras talk is so funny. Their voices are like "Tava, tava, 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 tava."
Yeah.
I also just generally really like that all of the different creatures have like that sort of uh like Star Fox like that or like Animal Crossing,
Uh-huh.
but each species has a different.
They have their own.
They have their own like intonation.
Uh-huh.
And it's only Pauline who speaks English.
Yeah.
Seemingly she understands everyone.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, I just think that's very funny.
And so you visit the elders and they're like, oh, like, yeah, we want to be DJs, blah, blah, blah. In order for us to help you, we need to, we need you to get the like village record or whatever they call
It's
it.
like a giant magical record.
But it's broken into pieces by
Not the first one. The
Voidco.
first one is not. The first one is just
No, I think the first. Oh, you're right.
the
You're
first
right. The
one
first one
is
is just the one.
it just needs to be retrieved
But
by
later
Donkey
they
Kong.
like start breaking
Yeah.
them into pieces. But yeah, so you retrieve it, you bring it back.
Which is always a hilarious little bit of like physical business because Donkey Kong's carrying this giant record above his head, and because it's just a thing that he carries, you can chunk jump with it, you can throw it, you can swing it at bad
You can
guys.
swerve
You can
surf
swerve
on
on
it.
And then like you pop it in the turn table in front of them, and that's when it like triggers you learning the Bonanza transformation.
Yes, and the way that that happens is Pauline reluctantly, like, she doesn't want to sing, but they all want a concert, and so you have to bang your chest to kind of like
Yes.
hype her up, and then she goes into a song.
Now, have you seen this? That by on the Pro controller, it's just you're holding L and R, and that's what causes him to beat his chest. Same thing that how you trigger it like later, just as you're playing through the game. If you are holding loose Joy-Con, you can beat your chest by shaking.
Oh, I love that.
The controllers.
Also, the first time when you're in the lagoon layer, this is an example of where I think the game it can be very funny. So Pauline is like pacing back and forth, and
Yes.
she's like, "I don't know that I want to do it," and it does these like jump cuts
It's
of her
so funny.
pacing.
Yes.
Where it's like, first she's pacing, then maybe she's like laying on the ground, and then
Right.
but they're all
And then
cut
she's, like,
really
hiding
like
her
in quick
face. And-
succession.
And Donkey Kong is also cutting similarly, and he's like confused as to why she doesn't want to do it, and then like he's like supportive, and like the acting on both of these characters in these moments is so incredible and so Looney Tunes and so funny. It's really just remarkable.
Yeah, Donkey
stuff.
Kong is so expressive
so
in
funny,
the game.
yeah.
It's really good. And then so yeah, you bang your chest, you transform, and these transformations, I've only encountered 3 of them so far, but
Likewise, yes.
you know that there are 5, or at least there are
Yes.
space for 5 of like power-ups. There's
Kong
Kong
Bonanza.
Bonanza, where
Mhm.
you're just like a bigger, angrier Kong,
Yeah, and you can
more powerful,
more
not angrier.
powerful, and I mean he looks angrier, so we can assume that he is angrier. And that's like part of it is not just that like he hits harder, but he can smash through like the metal stuff.
Yeah, the stuff he couldn't smash through before. Also, he can do a charged
Oh yeah,
punch that he can't do otherwise. The one you get in the next layer is not the next layer, but the next one you get is the zebra bonanza.
well it depends on which way you go.
Oh, sure. I
Right.
did Frozen first.
So did I.
So I got the zebra bonanza, and with zebra bonanza, there are certain like bridges that collapse because you can't run fast enough. But when you're a zebra, you can run really fast.
That's right. I love, and then there's the ostrich bonanza, which like it doesn't fly necessarily, but it like flutters and then can kind of glide.
Mm-hmm.
I love how much the abilities of these transformations don't really feel intuitive to me.
No, I hate
Where it's like, yeah, I guess zebras are fast, sure, but then the birds are expressly ostriches.
Yeah.
Like, why do you give the ostrich the ability to fly?
I guess that's why they can't fly. They can just flutter.
Sure, right.
But no,
Which feels like espresso from the Donkey Kong Country
totally.
games, yeah.
But also, it is not intuitive to me in controlling them. Just like ending a turf
yes.
surf is always kind of a panic. Like,
Right.
I don't know what's going to happen. The same thing happens every time in transformation. It's like, okay, to run fast
I gotta,
as
like,
a
push this
zebra, I
button.
like hold this and then release it, or I push this button. Like,
Oh man, dashing as the zebra is a recipe for disaster.
yeah,
for me.
I don't get it. I still
not
don't.
good at it.
I still don't understand what I'm supposed to
Right.
do. And then with the ostrich, it's the opposite button. So instead of ZR, it's ZL that you
Yes.
use to flutter. And I'm like, this is every time a transformation, I just feel like I'm Butterfingers. I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing.
And like the intensity of the music ramps way up, and you're immediately on like a timer, right? Of like how
Yes.
much
Because the
longer you can be.
transformations only last as long as your like bonanza meter is filled up, and
Right.
like we were talking about earlier, you can recharge your bonanza meter by like getting more gold, killing enemies,
Right,
just-
depending on what your little tie or ascot is. But the thing that I really like about this is that the game is tricking me into being panicked about and not like patiently learning the mechanics of all the transformations. I could just like transform, sit there, like calmly figure it out.
Totally.
But because the music is so intense and the meter is going down, it's the easiest thing to refill it, right? Um, that I'm like, no, I just gotta go, I
Well,
just gotta do
especially
it.
because when you first transform, it feels like one of those platforming levels where like the ground's going to disappear
Right.
behind you if you
Yes.
don't run fast enough. So that's what adds to the panic in the beginning because when they're teaching you the mechanic,
Right.
it is like go fast, fast, fast. I got to say I love the zebra song. So
Yeah.
it's mostly like Pauline sings gibberish except for like zebra
Right. Or ostrich
or
or
ostrich or yeah.
DK. Yes.
And it's some of the songs are very satisfying.
Hmm.
There's some of them are really good.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. I'm really looking forward to both what the other Bonanza transformations are and the songs that accompany them. Also, I can't wait to see some other big dumb elders.
Uh-huh.
It's very
Oh yeah, the power of the
exciting to me.
Switch 2 showing me the wrinkles of that ostrich. It is an ugly, ugly
That's an
ostrich.
ugly ostrich. All right, so we've now talked about the elders. Let's talk a little bit about the layer, the two layers below the lagoon layer, right? So there's the hilltop layer, which is our first like sort of example of like a half layer, right? Where it's just a
Yeah.
single, it's sub layer 200. That's it. There's no 201 or anything like immediately below that. It's just like a big open area. I feel like this is when you start to act. This is maybe when you meet the fractones for the first time.
No, I think the fractones are
Are they
in
in
all of them.
the
Yeah.
lagoon? Okay, um, but they're the only guys in this area.
Uh-huh.
And I guess they're the only guys in the canyon layer as well.
Yeah, that might be true. That might be true.
And so hilltop layer, I guess there's not too much to say about it other than like it's a big green. It's sort of what I was describing as like the kind of featureless opening level of most of these kind of
Yeah,
games.
totally. It's also where it like introduces or maybe not introduces, but in each of the layers there's other like puzzle types that just exist like
Right.
find four fractones hidden somewhere in the level or hey, there's like a puzzle piece fractone with pieces missing. Can you get the little baby pieces? Can you over
Yes.
to the I don't know, it's so smart how they do all of this stuff.
I agree. And like it's amazing how you mentioned like trees that you have to feed gold to earlier. Those appear in most of these levels, and it's just like the kind of thing that you start to learn to look for of like, oh, I see that like puzzle piece looking guy. I know he's gonna have like his little missing guys all around, and it's just so very satisfying to like start to get ahead of that stuff.
Sorry, I feel like the other thing we should talk about is getaways. The
Yes.
like homes that or the hovels or whatever caves that the fractones will build for you
Yes.
in the areas because you can only change your costumes at like
Like
a wardrobe
Right.
and they're only at the shops, but if you build a getaway then they cost money. Like you build at you have to encounter a fractone who will offer to build one for you and they're
Yes.
shaped like a home.
Yes.
And there are multiple in most layers. Like in the big layers, the main layers, you can have like five,
Five or
six,
six, yeah.
like something like that.
And each one costs like progressively more gold, but also for each new one that you build within an area, the benefits of taking a nap in them is better. So normally, like when you just have one, you it fills up your health, and then you get one extra heart. But I've gotten them as high as 5 extra hearts.
Yeah.
Which is a lot because I think at this point I have 5 or 6 hearts. Like you don't have that many. Um, so it can really benefit you to build these things.
It also has like a record player.
Yeah.
Because you records are collectible in this, and if you can change like the music that's playing out of it.
I have found so records sort of spawn randomly as you are digging and fighting.
I think so. I mean, sometimes it seems like some enemies have them inside them.
Interesting.
Like
Yeah.
I don't know how much of it is random or how much of it is they're
Like
placed
this
in the
specific
world. Yeah.
Yeah, I in my experience they've been random. Because I actually like I found a record pretty early on, and then I swear it was like 3 full layers where I didn't get
Huh, interesting.
any records.
Yeah, that's interesting.
And I'm fighting guys.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you're
I'm
punching them
smashing
all
them
the
up.
time.
Yeah.
So getaways, yeah, they're a place for you to rest and recharge. The later
Change
getaways, you
clothes.
get a
Yeah.
little like butler, and
Yes.
he acts as like all the different types of shops.
Right.
So you can buy stuff from him, you can buy clothes from him, and
Which is just handy. Like
it is.
it's in Super Mario Odyssey they like place those like the shops for you to buy the new costumes kind of right by where the Odyssey lands in each kingdom, which is like nice when you're visiting, but if you're like deep into it and you wanted to like buy something, it would be kind of a pain in the butt to go all the way back out. But this is just like, no, you can find these guys kind of all over the place, and they always want you to be able to spend your fossils.
And you can fast
Or
travel.
gold.
You could use them as fast travel points as well.
Yes,
So you like
right.
open up the map, you go to one, you can like easily zoom back there. So yeah, getaways, just another like mechanic in all these
Mhm.
layers.
And when you do decide to take a rest in one of the getaways, the first time you do it, the sort of like fades to black, and then Pauline's like, "Hey, DK, you awake?" And you can either choose like "ooh" or "z z z z z." So you can sleep through it and not answer her, or you can be like, "Yeah, what?" And Pauline will just sort of muse for like 3 or 4 sentences about whatever is happening in this corner of the level. Sometimes she's confused about like what the fractones are, or like what the monkeys are up to, or whatever. I was just in one where she was like, "This place feels like a dream world. All these like giant floating fruits. I bet you dream about." Or she was like, says something about like, "I've never dreamed about fruits. Do you ever dream about fruits? Oh, I bet you always." Like it's they're all really hilariously performed by the actress who's doing Pauline, um, and like pretty well written. I think they're all good. I
Yeah,
like every
I
single
skip
one.
them.
I know
I
you
don't
do.
find them as charming as you do. I don't think they're bad,
Yeah.
but I'm just like Z Z Z Z Z Z Z.
Aw, she's just trying to bond with you,
Yeah, I'm
Mark.
sleepy. I'm a tired Kong.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So hilltop layer. Let's talk this canyon layer, because this is where like we start to get into more of like just sort of the weird stuff happening. Where we're seeing like the giraffe fractones.
Uh
The
huh.
fractones themselves are like affecting different shapes.
But they're like taking on the shapes of like some of the rock formations because there aren't. My memory, anyways, is that there aren't
Right.
giraffes
There aren't.
in the canyon layer, but some of the rock formations and towers are like the shape of giraffes.
Yeah, well, and this happens early enough in the game that like, and it's before you meet the zebras or the ostriches, that like I didn't clock it as weird.
Right, and it's not immediately no, that's true. That the fractones are giraffes doesn't get clocked as weird. Also, I didn't. It took me a while to realize. Oh, these are in the shape of giraffes, like some of these
Yeah, sure.
formations and stuff.
Right. And like when you're in the lagoon layer, there are like monkey heads in the like side of cliffs. And later when we're with the zebras, you will see zebra headed shaped things. And ditto
Like
with
ostriches,
the
there's like
ostriches.
bird stuff everywhere.
So it's almost as though there were giraffe people and they're missing for some reason. But I really like in this area there are like minecart sections where you are hurling like explosive rocks at things to sometimes to access new areas, sometimes to fight a boss, at least once to collect the giant fossil, which is a whale. Or is that the whale?
I think it is,
Yeah.
yeah.
But I just I thought that was a fun little addition, and like haven't seen minecarts since.
Right. It seems like they're just on that level, and it seems like every layer has its own
Right.
thing. Like the was it the forest layer? That doesn't make sense. But whatever it was, where it had like the bouncy
Yeah, that's in
stuff.
the forest layer. Yeah,
Oh, it's like the lower
it's one of the lower ones of the
Yeah,
forest
okay,
layer.
yeah.
Yeah.
It, like introduces things bounce, or it's a like
Right. Some surfaces are
uh-huh.
are bouncy. Yeah, and I guess we don't need to get like too granular into like all of the features of all these things, but
Right.
the so after you get through the hillside section, then the game gives you a choice of which way
Or
to.
the canyon section.
Oh yeah, sorry. The game sends you to the Great Divide, and you can choose to either do the snowy section or the forest layer, um, and you can presumably approach them in any order you want, but it's sort of like the snowy levels on the left, and it's slightly easier to access it, which is why I went that way first. I have to imagine that's most people's experience.
Yeah, I wonder. I wonder what people choose. And maybe was it easier because the color like jello
Yes.
that you can punch to and it switches sides, you
Yeah.
know?
There's this really neat mechanic that they introduce here of like complementary blue and red blocks of goo that are like mirror images of each other. So if one of them is full, the other one is empty. If you punch a hole in the middle of the one that is full, that circular shape will now appear in the one that was empty. And yes,
I think that's why I
that
did
one's easier to access with that.
the
Yeah.
freezer layer first was
Yeah.
because so yeah, you end up having to do both of them to
Right.
advance.
Right.
But yeah, so I did the freezer layer first, and that's where the zebras are, and
Which is
with
again
their ice cream and
another, yeah, with their ice cream and their crazy way of talking and calling you bra all the time.
yeah,
Um, and it's another thing where it's like, yeah, why would the zebras be in a snowy freezer area? It doesn't make any sense.
it doesn't make any sense,
But they're wearing these
but
little
it's fun.
parkas and they're talking funny, and you're like, yeah, you guys are my friends. I like
Yep,
this.
yep,
And similarly, when you go to the forest area, the ostriches all like work for the hotel that's down there.
yeah,
What is it?
yeah, that's right. And there, I encountered one that was, like I like dug down or something, and there was a banana in an enclosed area, like
Yeah.
deep down into the earth, and there was one ostrich in there just being like, "I needed to take a break because customer service is hard."
It's like, who's staying at this hotel?
yeah, it's fun. It's fun.
Um, okay, and then so we get through both of these layers, and do we want to talk about this like little encounter with the, or are there boss fights we want to
Yeah,
discuss first?
well, I
Yeah.
think we should just talk about the concept of boss fights because there are boss fights in the game.
Yes.
And honestly, I have found them to be pretty unmemorable, except for the one in the forest layer with
Yeah.
that's like the big plant thing,
Yes.
Abracadabra or whatever it's
It
called.
is something called something like that. Yeah. Yeah. No, I like that all of the bosses are, you fight all of them by using mechanics that you have been using throughout the game. It's a thing that I harp on with video games all the time, that boss fights can be a bummer because it feels like you're playing a different game. But in the Abracadabra,
I don't think that's actually what it's
I'm
called, but
committing to it. It's, you mostly have to like run across the vines and like that it shoots at you, and then like avoid these like little rings of poison that like run along them. So it becomes like a platforming challenge. And like ditto in with earlier bosses that you have to like dig through their outer layers to start like punching the inner layer, or like the actual Kong that's hidden inside, usually Grumpy Kong. And I like that they have health bars,
uh-huh.
like that it is not find the weak point, throw the thing at the weak point 3 or 5 times or whatever. It feels very much like you are playing the other parts of the game just in like a heightened or like, slightly more dangerous setting.
I also like Grumpy Kong
Yeah.
and Poppy Kong because for them it's just business. So you'll like defeat,
Yes.
like you'll defeat them or whatever, and they'll still be hanging out and they'll be like, "Here's that key, like here,
Yeah.
take it,"
Here
and
you
then
go.
you can talk
Fair and square.
talk to them afterwards, like, and be like, "Do you want to?" You can like sometimes there's a prompt for like fight.
I love this with Poppy,
Uh-huh.
right? Where you were like, should we fight? And she's like, I don't work after.
Yeah, I'm off the clock.
Yeah.
So I like that it's all business for them.
Yeah, I like
it's
that too.
not like Void Kong who seems to he's like
Oh,
driven.
He's a maniac.
He's a maniac. The rest of them, it's just a paycheck.
Right. Relatable. So yeah, I think you're right that like they're not super memorable boss fights, but they all sort of work for me.
Yeah, they're not bad. They're not bad. They're usually pretty easy.
Yeah.
But again, the last two, so that grab ya,
Right.
asterisks, and then the one against Void Kong, I thought that was also fun.
The one against Void Kong, it's so this is actually super fun. This one against Void Kong takes place in several different layers. You have to like chase him through using the teleport, which is just some weird eel thing that can like take you to other layers, and like fighting a third of his health bar down. And he's like flying around, and he's like making all these like other objects like spawn near you
Yeah,
or
he's like
at you.
throwing everything at you.
Right, and so you have to, through a combination of throwing stuff at him and just like chasing after him, you just got to get close enough to like land a couple blows. I thought it was super fun, and then that grants you access to this area where you and I both are now, the resort
Right.
layer. Yeah,
And so I'm guessing just because we had that Void Kong fight that was kind of the halfway point of the
I
game.
honestly I have no idea.
I don't have any sense for it either.
It also makes me wonder because it sent us back through a couple of the layers. Um, you had alluded to the moment in Mario Odyssey where it throws a bunch of new moons back into stuff. I wonder how much we are going to be revisiting these old spaces,
Hmm.
and how much of that's going to feel like a fun tour back through the places where we used to play. You know,
Uh-huh. Um, I will say one thing that I would say is maybe the most challenging, most like not great.
Mark's going
No, no,
negative.
no. The part that I feel like I'm fighting the most, I guess
Yeah.
that's it. Or sometimes I wish worked better is the camera. And when you're out in the world itself, I don't think it's a problem. But when you are digging in
Uh huh.
spaces, sometimes I feel like the camera is just leaving you blind. Like it feels like it gets caught behind geometry,
Oh,
or I
that's
can't get a
interesting.
good angle on it. Like the camera to me, when I'm digging in
Yeah.
spaces and I don't know where I'm going, I feel like sometimes it lets me down. I don't really love the camera in those instances.
That's really. I have not found that. That when I am digging through, I think it's really smart about like transparency. And like when I've dug like two separate like tunnels through something, and I'm like getting close to it, and the camera's kind of like in the geometry of the level, like looking at me, it will also be transparent through to the other tunnel, and like you can see those things
That part is true.
that
Yeah.
I think is really good. The shifting between like being in a dugout tunnel that you've done and like being in the open world can be tricky, where it's like shifting between like layers of like dark and light and
Yes, I
transparency and
noticed
not.
that too,
Yeah,
where like if you're coming out of a tunnel or something, sometimes the new area will be just dark basically
right.
until you
Until
are
you're like
far enough
outside
out.
enough, and then it's
Yeah.
like bam. And so if that's like lava and it's like a bright red, that can be like a jarring transition. But otherwise, I think it's quite impressive what the camera is doing, and like pretty smart about transparency and stuff.
Yeah, that's the one like hitch that I find myself running into where I just wish I don't know how you would improve it, but I
Right.
just wish it was a little better in those
Um,
tight spaces.
I would say if I have like a complaint about my experience with it so far, is that when I did go into like kind of psycho mode and just get everything in the lagoon layer, um, that I started to feel like a compulsive. It started to like trigger the part of my brain where it's like, oh, I'm just like reward, reward, reward,
Uh-huh.
reward, and void of any like progression in the game and just getting things, getting things, getting things. It did start to feel like it was deadening to my brain,
Uh-huh.
which is sort of just like me saying it's too good at making me enjoy it, but it's that what I was feeling. All right, well, so that's where we are in Donkey Kong Bonanza now. What do you think? Recommend?
Yes, I give it one of those 5 banana things that
Oh,
you
banana.
can get when you jump between layers.
Um, do you save up skill points? How do you treat those things?
Yeah, I find that skill points are kind of perfect in that. So every time you get 5 of those Banandium gems,
Mm-hmm.
you get 1 skill point, and then you can use that to level up like one of Donkey Kong's abilities, and they cost varying amounts. So you can like save them up to use to like cash in 4 at one time to improve like your jump or something like that. So one of the things that I think is really nice about those is that none of them feel transformative, and so I just don't
Right.
sweat it.
I
I
also don't
I
sweat it.
just kind
Yeah.
of do whatever I want,
Yep.
and if you really want to, like, if you really dislike the way that you've leveled it up and you want to put your points into something else, there are fractones that you can talk to, and or
Oh,
I
to
think it's fractones or
respec.
maybe it's the elders.
Interesting.
There's a way to respec. Um but I haven't done that. I just don't pay that much attention to it. I just do whatever. Sometimes, like, I just do whatever I want.
Yeah,
How about you?
the game also suggests which ones to
Yes.
do next, and unless I have something in mind, I just do what it tells me.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and actually, when I knew I was coming up on the ostrich bonanza, I was like, oh, I'm gonna start saving up these skill points because I know
Oh,
there are gonna be
sure.
things
Yeah.
that I like abilities within that transformation that I want to upgrade. So
Yeah.
I did do that. That was the first time where I was like, I'm going to strategically save skill points to upgrade.
Well, there are a lot of collectibles. There's like the gold that you
Yeah.
use, that also acts as like your lives if you die, and then there are the like Banandium chips, which are coins that you find throughout the
Yeah,
world.
which you can also trade for Banandium
And is that
gems.
the only
I
thing you
think
can?
so.
Okay, okay.
I find that to be the most like frustrating of the collectibles because the bananas themselves, which are plentiful, but still feel meaningful every time you collect them, and the fossils would ditto, I think are such good implementations of the Donkey Kong thing of like stuff to collect, where every one I collect, I feel like I'm making progress towards something like a goal I actually want to achieve and not just like checking off that I'm collecting them. Whereas the Banandium chips, I'm kind of like, I don't know. I feel like I've got like 700 of them now or something. I almost never cash them in for the actual bananas because I'm like, I don't know. That'll be the thing I do last, I
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah. Oh, the other thing I want to talk about is just like it's nods to other like Donkey Kong stuff. There's a lot of nods to Donkey Kong,
Yeah,
like country in here, in
the
the
original Donkey
music.
Kong. Yeah.
Yeah, in the music and like the balloons and
Hmm.
characters like that sort of stuff. What do you think about the music? My personal feeling is that outside of um the transformations, like the Bonanza songs, I and the songs that I recognize from Donkey Kong Country,
Yeah.
I find it to be fine, but not particularly memorable. Nothing's like struck me in the way that some of the songs in Odyssey struck me.
Yeah, which is interesting, right? Because I that is something that Odyssey is, a highly referential score. It uses a lot of music from previous Mario games, but also it has that like Steam Gardens like
Right.
surf rock song pretty early that like I think rules, and I've not yet encountered a piece of music in Bonanza that is new to Bonanza, other than maybe the songs, the transformation songs that I think really stands out um, as memorable.
Yeah, that SteamWorld Garden song, it like hits you like a bolt of lightning. So you're
Yeah.
like, this is so weird. What is
Yeah.
this doing? But
Wow,
in a great way,
wow,
like in an
wow,
amazing, and
wow.
we learned that,
Wow,
it's like composed by
wow,
Koji Kondo. Like
wow.
it's amazing, amazing music.
Yes.
And there's nothing in Bonanza that reaches that height. There's nothing in Bonanza that is really just, I've been like, this is an incredible piece of music.
Right. One, like, I think there's something interesting there with like a lot of the memorable Donkey Kong country music is composed either by David Wise or Grant Kirkhope. And neither of them contributed new music to this game. So it's like the Japanese composers doing riffs on their old stuff, but maybe they don't quite have that style, like in their vocabulary
Well,
yet to like make new pieces that are.
but my expectation, because I find like the pieces they incorporate are like referential, right?
Yeah, yeah.
They're in those 2D levels, or they're little like when you go to sleep. There's like the little like
Doom, doom, doom.
like as a lullaby. But there's as is other music in the game
Right.
that could be its own style that could like and I think there is. It just doesn't. None of it sticks with me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Right. Which is what I'm saying is that like it's not as impactful or as memorable. Also, I'm not 12, and I haven't played the game for 100 hours yet.
No, but what I'm saying is that there's no SteamWorld Gardens. There's
Yes,
nothing where
yes.
you're just like, or even
So I think you're adding the word world in there that doesn't belong there.
I
Is
think
it
you're
Steam
omitting
World?
it.
Oh, interesting.
But no. I must be wrong because SteamWorld is its
It's a
own
thing,
series of
right.
games. Yeah. So I think you're right. I think it is Steam Gardens. Yeah, you
Okay,
are
great,
right.
great.
Yeah. When it comes to remembering the names of things, I should always just defer to you because I am terrible at it. But yeah, you're right. Steam Gardens. But there's nothing like that. Same with like, look, I know that Breath of the Wild had a controversial soundtrack for some people. Same with Tears of the Kingdom. But both of those had standout pieces of music
Yeah.
that made you sit up and be like, this is pretty incredible.
Right.
And I just haven't encountered that in Bonanza yet.
Excepting the Bonanza songs.
But even that to
Even
me
those are-
feels
yeah.
I don't think they're bad. Like I said, I like the Zebra one a lot. But to me it feels like Splatoon music, or it feels like
Right.
and it doesn't have its own identity. I feel like that's what I'm getting at is
Sure.
the music in Bonanza doesn't have anything that I'm like, oh crap, I've got to add this to like a playlist because this is
Sure.
incredible.
Okay, I think that is probably our discussion of our first week with Donkey Kong Bonanza. Mark, let's close this out. All right, that is going to do it for this episode of Nintendo Cartridge Society. If people have thoughts about Donkey Kong Bonanza, like I said, get in the Discord. We'll be chatting about it there, I'm sure, for several weeks to come. Thank you so much to our 16-bit patrons, Connor McKay, Patrice Millette, Kyle Seaborn, Drew Mackey, and James Haig. We appreciate you. We appreciate everyone who's listening or interacting with us in any way. Anthony DeLuca made our logo. Our theme music is provided by 8-Bit Betty. You can get more of his music by going to 8bitbetty.com or by listening right now. For my co-host, Mark Mitchell, this is Patrick Ellers saying thank you for listening.